back in Iowa. It's been a hot minute. I haven't really posted much about my van travels and updates on that, really on anything. So I figured that chapter is closed, I'd come on here and explain how my summer went with traveling and how 2024 has changed me. In January, I was very lost. I was so over the old me. I knew that there was something better to come, but I didn't know where that was. And so I felt this urge to get a Bible. And there's actually a video, one of my first videos on this channel, of me driving to Barnes & Noble. In January, I started reading it. In February, I finally accepted my friend's invite to go to Salt Company. That invite was from the previous summer. I originally turned him down and was like, no, I'm never going to that. I don't belong there. I don't believe in that, blah, 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 blah. So I finally accepted him up on his offer. More like I texted him and was like, hey, your girl needs some Jesus. Can I go to Salt Company with you? And by the way, Salt Company is a college ministry that I go to. It's probably one of the best things that's ever happened to me in my life. And they're nationwide. So if you look up Salt Company National, I think you can find a map of like where all of the salt companies are from. So along with going to Salt Company, I also started going to church. So January I got the Bible. February I started going to Salt Company and church. April, I actually ended up getting baptized. Praise God, that was where everything really started to change. And up until then, my faith had just like grown exponentially. So then in May, I worked my butt off to try to save up as much money so I could go on these travels. And then on June 1st, me and my mom left for our first trip, the East Coast trip. Oh, trippin'. I think I have a couple videos posted about that trip on my YouTube somewhere. They're nothing too crazy. Honestly, on that trip, I was very much a Moody Judy. Was down in my feels the entire trip. And I think it was more rooted out of fear of like, what am I doing? I don't know if this is the right choice I'm supposed to be doing. I was so nervous about leaving and going out west on my own. I think I was also coming to terms with how I have found peace and security in the Lord. I think deep down I knew leaving was gonna make that really hard to maintain without the community and stuff, but also at the same time I just kept telling myself, well, oh, it's gonna bring me closer to God. It's gonna bring me closer to God. And I just felt like I couldn't back out, you know? Like, I've made it this far. It's taken me 2 years to build out the van. There's no backing out now. The trip was still super fun. Me and my mom seen amazing things, and I don't take it back, any of it. Maine and Vermont are my top 2 states. I would live there in a heartbeat. Absolutely beautiful. So then after that trip, we actually ended it like a week early because I was like, I am ready to be home. I just want to work. And I need a minute before I go out west. So I went home. I made the decision that I'm buying a dog. What? Where did this come from? I don't know. I actually was already thinking about it before we left, and then once we left, I was like, nope, I'm not doing that. And then we got back home, and then I met the dog. Don't ever meet a dog, because then you have to buy it. Getting Sage was probably the best decision I have made, because I don't know what I would have done without her. So then after I got Sage, I worked for a couple weeks and just like built up my money back again, and then I left to go out west. Out west, I went to South Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, and Colorado. The first couple weeks started out really good. I was seeing all this new stuff. Me and Sage were going on adventures. We were doing the thing. I was up in Wyoming on top of a mountain, pulling out of a campsite, crunched the side of my van into a tree. And then I realized, like, okay, girl, you need to just take a breather, take a minute, and just sit in one spot for a week and just relax and enjoy it. I was go, and I did not need to be go. I had all summer. I needed Wi-Fi. So I found a spot that had Wi-Fi and that I could get a hold of and talk to the insurance company about the damage I need to relax. So I did that. I found the perfect spot. It had a whole bunch of campfire wood left over from the previous people that were there. That lasted me all week. I had a private beach access. I got to go paddleboarding, the whole 9 yards. I was like, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be amazing. But during this week of slowing down, I ran into the problem of I am bored. I don't know what to do. There's no dopamine hits of doing something new and driving somewhere new every day. I think where my mental was at finally hit me, and I was just down and depressed, and I was trying to go paddleboarding and go swimming and trying to just boost my morals a little bit. Also, I'm dealing with insurance that sucks. The insurance doesn't suck, but when you get a bad person on the line, they make it hard. And during this week, I felt like everything was going wrong. I dropped my pasta in the dirt and then I had to wash it off, and just like minor things, you know? If that doesn't explain the kind of week that I'm having, then I don't know what will. I'm gonna have to rinse them off and boil them for a minute to fix that. Okay. But through all of this, I was trying to stay in the Word. I read my Bible every day. I read my Bible when I got bored because I knew I needed God. I knew I had put him off for the first couple weeks and the month I was gone with my mom, and I hadn't been making him a priority like I had for the past 6 months of the year. And I just felt like I was trying to get something and just feel that God was there, but it just felt like I was getting nowhere. And even through doing all this fun stuff, I still just felt really discouraged, and none of this that I was experiencing was what I'd hoped for. And I think at the beginning, through these years of building out the van, I had expectations like, this is going to be so fun, I'm going to be so happy, this is going to fulfill me. It's not till now I realized that something like this can't fulfill you in the ways I was looking for it to fulfill me. Only God can do that. And so when I was out there doing all this stuff and I just felt so sad and depressed, it was also confusing because in my head, like, I should be happy right now. I should be having fun right now. But I was not having fun and I was not happy, even though it was fun. You know what I mean? I felt that sense that something was missing and I didn't know how to get that. So then towards the end of that week, I had a appointment scheduled for Sage so she could get her last little puppy vaccines. So that morning I was cleaning up the van, getting it ready, doing the dishes so we could load up the van and head into town, which was 30 minutes away. And I ended up cutting my finger on a knife while I was doing the dishes. Ended up passing out. Once I regained consciousness, I drove myself to the ER, ended up getting stitches in my finger, took Sage to the vet. After the vet, I think I ran to the grocery store and like picked up a couple things. Well, I had this like huge, they like wrapped it, it was sticking out to here. I still have a scar and it's still like numb, like I can't feel it. Anyways, after I left town, I was heading back, jamming out to my Benson Boone. I just remember thinking to myself, like, oh, I cannot wait until I just get home, my campsite, and I can just relax. Hit a deer, smoked it. It didn't even make it to the ditch. I don't even think it made it to the gravel. It was no bueno. It was not good. That ended up cracking my bumper a little bit. It like knocked my bulb out of place, so I ended up having to replace that, which the thing was actually broken, so it melted everything inside. Anyways, by the way, the van is fine now. Insurance fixed the body damage and I replaced the headlights, and so it's all fixed. The only damage to the van is the little tiny crack of the bumper, which is fine by me. And I think at this point, this is when I was like, okay girl, you need to put your big girl pants on, make a plan, get out of this spot because clearly nothing is good is coming from this, and figure it out is basically what I told myself. So I decided to drive to, I think I drove through Idaho and then I was gonna go through Utah, but then I was like, nope, I just want to go to Colorado. As I was heading into Colorado, I remember one night I was praying and just like, God, what am I doing with my life? Like, this isn't all that I've hoped for. I am just so disappointed by all of this, blah, 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 blah. Look at it, it's Sage. That's her. That's her in all her glory. She's just gonna be in the background. Oh, just kidding. You don't want to be in the video. But anyways, I just felt like this whole entire time I wanted to go home, but I felt like I couldn't because I was gonna be letting people down. And that night when I was praying to him, I felt like I heard him say, like, it's okay. Like, you're not letting anybody down. It's time to go home. And that was all the clarification that I needed. And so I drove through Colorado. I ended up stopping at a family friend's, hung out with her for a few days, and then I left there, did a little loop around Colorado, and then stopped and hung out with her again because I had a concert I was going to with my cousin that we'd already bought tickets for. So my plan was I'm just gonna meet with her, travel around, go to this concert, and then after this concert, I'm going home. Me and my cousin went to this concert, and then I went home. And that brings us to today. I'm working at a school. I have some special stuff planned in the books. But I think the biggest thing that I learned is that God is always there no matter how much you think he is or he is not. And that you can't do anything to satisfy the world or satisfy others. And the only thing that you have control in is how you can satisfy God. I don't know, the biggest things that I have been learning lately is how to have trust in him fully and taking steps with him within his will. 2 things that I've taken away from my Bible study lately is taking small steps within your fears throughout difficult things in your life and the world. Face them. Don't run away, and see what's possible in healing. And I think that goes with my story so well, because I stuck with my fears, I stuck with my goals and dreams, even though it didn't turn out in the end. When you take a step, and if it brings success, you rejoice in that, and if it leads to failure and falling on your face, the worst thing that can happen is that you learn something. And I definitely learned a lot, and I don't regret any of it, because if none of what happened this summer happened, I would not be the person I am today. So yeah, that's all I have to say. This channel is not dead. This channel is not over. I plan to post more on this channel. I'm not sticking to a schedule. I'm not making it my #1 priority, because there are a lot of things in store that are very exciting and take bigger priority than YouTube. But subscribe and stick around. I don't know when I'll post next, but just know that I'm not gone. And there will be more videos to come. I love you, Jesus loves you, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.